Yo, what up guys? Slow Mo Backslap here, slapping you with another video, and today we're going to discuss this Halo Infinite kerfuffle. This Halo Infinite discourse, this Halo Infinite debate that's going on in the gaming community at the moment. And I want to get my thoughts on it, my thoughts on why I think it is occurring. Some of it is legitimate, some of it is agenda driven, of course, but it needs to be put into proper perspective. And I'm going to do that as well as give you my overall thoughts of the second flight, which featured Big Team Battle and the Halo Infinite multiplayer, and how I feel this game is shaping up and what 343 Industries needs to work on. So before I go any further, please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's go ahead and get into it. So Halo Infinite, as I said before, released this past weekend. The second flight began last Friday, ended last night on Sunday, and the second flight featured Big Team Battle. One map for Big Team Battle, unfortunately, but the map was pretty good, pretty decent. Nothing too out of the ordinary for a typical Big Team Battle. You have your launch pads, you have a lot of cover, you have equal sides of each side of the map having the same amount of choke points, areas to camp if you're that kind of person, and shame on you if you are, as well as the same buildings and so forth. This is typical Halo map design. It's the same as Blood Gulch, but blown up as usual, right? And I had fun. I had my matches where I really dominated, had a great KD, killed a lot of people, we won. Had some matches where negative KD took L's big time and was generally getting sniped and ran over by Ghost or shot by Scorpion tanks. So it is what it is. It's fun, especially if you get a chance to play with people that you know, which I did on the last day. That was pretty awesome. Now that said, they still had social arena, which is the PvP against other players arena, and they still had bot arena. They also had training mode in there, which is, I thought, a very good feature. Training mode doesn't have an end to it. You go in, you're just by yourself, you play against other bots. You can choose the level of bot that you want to play with. If you want to play against the Marines, if you're that bad of a player and you need to practice on bots that are pretty bad, go ham. If you are pretty advanced and want a challenge, and especially during the time periods of this weekend when the play sessions weren't up, because you could only do PvP from 1 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Eastern to midnight from Friday to Sunday. Outside of those time periods, you could go into training mode or go to the shooting range and you could practice. And so I enjoyed going up against the Spartan bots because they could actually get kills on me. Although I still killed them primarily, it was still fun to get used to weapons that I had the opportunity to play with too much already, as well as getting more familiar with the maps. And so it was a good time. Now, may not have been a good time for everyone, and let's get into some of the debate that has been going on in regards to Halo Infinite's multiplayer. Let's first start with time to kill. So time to kill has been a debate among some people in the community, people who primarily are new to Halo or have not enjoyed playing Halo in a very long time, are struggling with the time to kill, not enjoying themselves in the game. And for that, although their opinion is valid, I have to respond with, that's Halo. It's why it's different than other first-person shooters. It's not as quick twitch and kill you before you get an opportunity to respond as you would see in Call of Duty, and the time to kill is typically longer than other first-person shooters in general. I can get into the lore reasons for that you got a shield that you gotta knock off, but even if you have a full shield, if someone lands nothing but headshots on you, you'll go down pretty fast. So what this really comes down to is how good is your aim? How good are you at landing headshots on other players, and can you do that without relying on ADS, aim down sight? These are the differences in Halo. Yes, you have your arena settings where people can have the power weapons on a timer in their head, or even a watch telling them when the power weapon is back up. And yet, that's a meta. That's what people can rely on. But outside of those moments when you aren't the one person on the map with a rocket launcher, you need to get kills. And you can't be running around in Halo Infinite the way you run around in Splitgate or Call of Duty. It's different. You just running, even though running only gives you a minor boost in speed, shows where you are on the map. So other players, enemies close to you know where you are, and you are not in a position as you're running around a corner or through a door to be prepared to not get capped in the head. These are things that take time to learn, and I think there's a bit of an ego thing going too, where people are afraid to take L's. They have a great KD in one first-person shooter, and they think that because they are generally good at first-person shooters, well, then I should have an awesome KD in every first-person shooter that I play. And there are some that do that. They adjust quickly, and they adjust to a meta quickly, and they generally are just that good. But for most people, you need to adjust. You need to have patience, and you need to learn the game. And for a lot of people, they don't want to learn the game, and that's going to come to what I really want to speak to you guys with. It's the crux of what this video is about, and it's that not every first-person shooter is the same. Not every first-person shooter is going to play the same, and you should not want every first-person shooter to play the same. And here's why. Every first-person shooter playing the same means, what's the purpose of any of these other shooters? None of them are ever going to be able to achieve any kind of height as the most popular shooter out there if all they're doing is copying off of the one that is the most popular. You want variety. You want uniqueness, because not every game resonates the same with everybody. Call of Duty is not for everyone. Battlefield is not for everyone. And Halo certainly is not for everyone. So when these games are implementing game design and gunplay that differentiates it from others, that's not a knock, or that shouldn't be a knock from you. You should either adjust to it or choose not to play it, because it's okay to choose not to play it, because not every first-person shooter is going to be for you. Some first-person shooters will knock you out of aim down sight when you get hit, like in Halo. Some don't, like in Splitgate. Some first-person shooters, movement is extremely fast, and for some people, that's not their jam. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it's about what you enjoy. So don't go after people who say this game isn't for me, I don't like it, because some of them are being genuine in why they don't like the game. They're glad to get into this technical preview to check it out to see whether they're going to be checking for it in December or not. And some people playing it has sold them on the game, and that's the way this works. It's like a bell curve. You're going to get people on one end of the spectrum that hate it, people on the other end of the spectrum that love it. Generally, it's 10% and 10% on both ends of the spectrum, but in the middle, the 80% are going to be people who are going to be like, well, it's okay, I may play it for a while, or, you know, it is what it is. And they'll play it casually with friends from now and then. But that's how this usually works. And of course, you're going to have your people who are just pushing an agenda. It didn't matter how the game played. It didn't matter if it was the most amazing multiplayer they ever played in their life. They're going around taking screenshots of foliage. They are shooting watermelons in the background. They're shooting tires out of the vehicle. They're looking at their footprints in the mud. They're doing everything but actually shooting other players. Why are you doing all these other things outside of playing the game? Because you don't want to play the game. You want to push an agenda. That's cool too. You do you, but don't be upset when people call you out for what you're doing. Cool? Cool. Now, let's talk about performance for a moment, because performance is probably going to be an issue for this game at launch. And I've just kind of come to that realization that when a game on PC doesn't perform well, when I have a 3070, I have a RTX 3070 in my PC, and I can't run this game on ultra settings at just 1440p at consistently over 120 frames per second without having hitching, freezing, losing track of where I am, all kinds of problems occurring because of that. To put it into perspective, I am in the top 1 or 2% of PC builds in the world. Think about that for a moment. The majority of PC gamers are running on really old graphics cards. We're talking 1060s, 1070s. I'm running a 3070. I had to, in order to make this game run with no issues. And by the way, MSI Afterburner, tools that people in PC gaming love to use, doesn't work well with this. And I couldn't get it to run to get more detailed information on what was happening with my PC as I was playing the game. And I couldn't stream because every time I turned on OBS, my frame rate went below 20 frames per second. This is really poor optimization on the part of 343 on PC right now. All of this, of course, is feedback I've given to 343, and I gotta speak to some of you fanboys for a moment. Some of you guys need to chill on going after people who are giving legit constructive criticism about the game. That's what the flight's for. It's not for you strictly to enjoy playing the game early. It's for you to help them make sure the game is ready to go at launch. And there are people who are really trying to do that, but it's difficult to even have a discussion with other people on the issues that they see on Twitter when Fanboy Defense Force Power Ranger shows up in your comments to call you a shill, a liar, and a Sony fanboy for even suggesting that the game has problems simply because I got a 3090 and I didn't have any issues. I'm playing on Xbox Series X, why don't you have one of those? If someone's talking about their personal experience with a game, saying that you didn't have that experience means nothing to them. Nor does it mean anything to the developers, and all you're doing is hurting the game as you're trying to damage control for a game that does not need to be damage controlled at this time. It's not even out yet. Instead of allowing people to converse with 343 and give feedback so that hopefully this game doesn't come out with those issues. And the consoles weren't flawless either. On the Xbox Series S in the first flight, I had a crash. I didn't have any crashes at all, PC or Xbox Series S this time around, but I had to play primarily on the Series S for this flight because the PC version was unplayable for a large portion of the time. And so these things needed to be addressed. I do believe some of them will, but as we went from the first flight to the second, I noticed performance got worse. 343 has a track record with not releasing games polished at launch. I see no reason to think this would be any different. And so, although I am hoping for the best, I'm being realistic with common sense here, and I'm expecting it to be about what they've done before, which is release a game that's going to have some issues, it's going to need some work before being completed, before it being polished and really ready to go. And they're not delaying the game any further, even though I felt like it should have been delayed because Campaign Co-op and Forge aren't there. But we know for a fact they aren't going to delay this game. If they can't fix some of these really bad bugs before launch, guess what's going to happen? It's going to launch with those bugs there, and they'll keep pushing, working through the launch to fix them. But we just have to acknowledge that is the way things are and how they will be. Now, overall, I don't think Halo Infinite is going to move the needle the way some Xbox fans wish it would, or the way Xbox wishes it would. I do believe that it is different enough that it will provide a multiplayer experience for people who are looking for that, and they will have a much bigger, consistent multiplayer community than is currently present for the Master Chief Collection or Halo Guardians multiplayer. But that said, I don't think it does enough that is similar to Call of Duty or Battlefield to legit get those players to not play those games that come out this year to play Halo Infinite instead. But that's fine. I feel like it will carve its niche in the multiplayer market, but it's not going to take away your Call of Duty fans, your Battlefield fans, your Apex Legends fans, your Splitgate fans. All of them will still continue to play those games because those games do something that they enjoy that they don't get from Halo Infinite, and vice versa for those who choose to keep it, who choose to play Halo Infinite. But that's it. What do you think? Did you play the Halo Infinite multiplayer this past weekend? How'd you enjoy it? What is your feedback? Let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you liked the video, hit the dislike button if you didn't. It's all good. And hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content about Halo Infinite in the future.